Welcome to STEMGo, everyone. Good morning or greetings in the world, wherever you may be. This is STEMGo, saving time, energy, and money in your business. It's a business productivity show where we feature some great guests who have some great know-how about how they do productivity and effect and being efficient in their business. Today's guest is Rachel Dickey, and Rachel, we met quite unexpectedly. Actually, a lot of people I know already come on here, or they contact me through the various channels. But I'll just tell you a quick story how we met. I was in the library wandering around, perusing some of the books for some of my content for STEMGo course and other things that I'm doing, and came across Rachel's book, So Like an Eagle, Beautiful Woman. And I thought that title is just so intriguing. Got to have a look at that one. and yes, so I took the book out, read the book, because I was working on some confidence, self-esteem stuff, content at the time, and I was looking at what other people were talking about and kind of what meaning it had for other people. And and I thought, I've got to connect with this lady. I sure have. And I had no idea she was actually just down the road from me. What a story. I just couldn't believe it. When I contacted her, she's in the next neighborhood to me. And there you go. You just don't know. It's a small world. You don't know who you're contacting and how you're meeting people. Anyway, Rachel is joining me today. Rachel is a life coach. She's a mindful and meditation facilitator. She's a Tai Chi instructor. And yes, she wrote this beautiful book on Soar Like an Eagle, Beautiful Woman. And so she's here to talk to you today about how she does productivity in her business. So I'll bring her on in. Come on in, Rachel. How are you doing?
Hi, very well. Thank you so much, Karen, for having me. And it was an absolute pleasure the way we met.
Yes. I think you were a bit surprised, were you, when you said, how can you get hold of my book at the library? Like, that was a
I
nice
really
surprise.
was, yeah. And it was very pleasant to know that, yeah, you'd found the book in the library and decided to
Yeah.
contact me. It was very humbling, actually. It was lovely.
Oh, stunning. How's the book going? Well, tell us a bit about you and where you are and how you got to a little bit about how you got to where you are. That would be good.
Okay, sure. Oh gosh, asking me to do a little bit. Okay, where do we begin? Let's be mindful of the time we have. Okay,
Yeah.
so basically, just as most of us do, I think, we go in and out of different jobs and have different experiences, and then just something happens sometimes, and you realize that you need to get off the path you're on and get onto another one. So briefly, that's pretty much what happened to me. And fortunately, I was in a time in my life where I was able to do that with the support that I had around me. And I think that inspired, motivation, and that inspired action you get when you know something's really right. You just have to somehow find a way to do it. So I
Absolutely.
just, yeah, so I just found myself in a really great place to step out of the world that I currently knew into a world of self-discovery and learning more about myself and becoming a better me. And on that journey, becoming a life coach and learning so much as I go. And still, even though we think we're on the wrong path, perhaps, or a path that's not really right for us, it still contributes to where you're going. You look back and you think, oh gosh, I am glad I actually participated in that role, or I was, part of that type of work, because it's contributed to who I am and what I
Yeah.
can, do as a coach in today, in my role today, if you like.
Yeah.
So everything's come together beautifully. And now I get to do what I love every single day, writing the book. Funnily enough, I'm one of those people that if I've actually said something, I have to make it happen. And just, in general conversation, perhaps when you're going through turmoil in your life and you'd say, oh, I'm going to write a book about this one day. And I'd spoken those words. So I thought I actually need to get a start on that. This is Soar Like an Eagle, Beautiful Woman is not the whole book in terms of what I anticipated to write about, but it needed to be written at that time. It was, I think. And it's, as you know, it's only a nice, small, compact little book. So it's more like a resource. And I thought, yep,
Yes.
do it, Rach. Just do that. And it's going really well. I'm really pleased with
Right.
the people that it's reaching and the impact that it's having. I couldn't be happier.
Yeah, awesome. So the inspiration, just to kind of give people an idea, the inspiration behind the book was that you were in a pretty challenging personal relationship at the time, weren't you? And How long after that? At what point did you decide to write the book? Was it while you were still in that relationship or after you'd left that relationship?
Well and truly after. And,
Mm.
through my experience, I believe you do have to have that healing time before you can
Mm.
project what you need to project. I think, particularly in a book where you're hopefully helping other people.
Mm.
So, definitely, well and truly after the event of, and, self-esteem. I mean,
Yeah.
this is why I coach and teach self-esteem to children, because it starts
Yeah.
then. We either know how to nurture it, or it's low or it's high, or whatever it is, way back when we're children.
Yeah.
So yeah, the book was inspired at a time where I felt like I could actually put some words together without crying.
Okay. Okay.
Or without feeling too hurt, and
Sure.
with
Yeah.
feeling a little more empowerment, so that
Yeah.
I could hopefully share that with other women that were not just in similar situations, but needed that
Yeah.
inspiration and encouragement to nourish and build their own self-esteem.
Yeah, and there's two things there. One is starting very early. I can't agree more with you there, Rachel, in terms of I think self-esteem, confidence stuff should be taught in kindergarten. It should be taught in nursery and primary school, right? There's so many
Absolutely.
teenagers that are so not confident. Their self-concept is not good. And I know it's around that time that we start getting a bit funny about our self-consciousness and our self-concept. But I think if that training and that teaching had been done so much earlier, and that guidance and support, and that coaching, it was in there right from the early days. A lot of us, especially women, would not kind of be doubting ourselves as grown-ups.
Absolutely. And it's about identifying what's real and what's not real. And children don't have that filter. They're so fresh, and they retain so much, and they're really receptive to energy, and they take on board, as we do as adults, but more so when you're younger, what the majority of us and people around them are experiencing. So it's very difficult for
Yeah.
children to actually be able to identify who they are, because they're being led by parents, coaches, teachers, friends, siblings. And I'm very passionate about teaching kids more about identifying with who you are, get in touch with your inner voice, take some time out to really connect with you, understand what that means, feel it.
Yeah.
And honestly, they get it so quickly, because they have less, they've had less time to have behavioural changes, I suppose, than what us adults have had. And they respond really, really well to understanding what it is. And it, like everything, though, we can plant a seed, but if we don't water it and nurture it and look after it, it just dissipates back into the earth, So my way of thinking is, let's make this more of a culture and a language that we all share, not just with our children, but in our home and in our schools and in our communities, and talk about things that lift us and make us feel good, and do things we love, and inspire one another to support each other's strengths, rather than looking at what we're not good at all the time. Because let's face it, there's plenty of people out there that are quick to say, we're not good at something, or we've been unsuccessful, or we don't earn enough money, or, success is measured on such different things to what we really should be measuring it on.
Absolutely.
But that's a big topic.
It is a huge topic, because it does run through generations, and it starts, I'm totally agree with you on that. It starts, I speak to a lot of business owners who are struggling with the self-esteem stuff, so particularly women. And I think it does start way back, and it typically gets handed down from generations, doesn't it? In terms of our parents not being great with their self-esteem, and their parents and their parents. And it kind of has to stop somewhere, but, it needs that guidance for sure. So your book is wonderful, because it's inspirational. So whilst, yes, it tells a, terrific story that you went through in terms of what you dealt with, the challenges that you had to overcome. It's very inspirational in terms of saying, look, I've done this. I have come out the other side. I'm able to write about it without crying in the book. And I feel solid in the work that I want to do moving forward with it, in terms of helping other people to get better with this self-esteem stuff. So, and it's got lots of tips and tools and techniques to help you to manage that. So if you've got some kind of easy methods that people can learn today to take away and to to help themselves, A, to recognize it is a self-esteem issue, but B, also to do something about it, to help them to be more successful in their business.
Yeah, look, absolutely. And I have put a lot of thought into that question exactly, because I think there's a combination of things that really do matter. And again, speaking from experience, you can try and invest in your business to do well, with all the strategies that, we can get guidance on, which is wonderful. But if we don't truly believe in ourselves, if we really don't think we're up for the task or that we've got it in us, then it's not going to have the drive or the success, I believe, that what we could have. So, I agree. It's really important to find that. Tips. What works for me might not necessarily work for others, but what I think works for everybody is really taking some time out. When you are trying to build a successful business, all your time and energy, and if you can look at things as energy, it's really, really beneficial. So if you can think, let's look at everything we utilize and put our time into is an energetic experience. So maybe have a look at how much time and effort and energy is going into your business and how much is going into yourself personally. I think that's a really great place to start. If that's not balanced well enough, if that's not balanced well enough, you're going to find that more's going into almost like a waste basket. Because the more energized you are and the more you've been working on yourself, the better and more productive your business is going to be. And things just, honestly, they just start to happen and unfold because look, depending on what you believe, but I believe the universe recognizes when we've taken time to invest in ourselves. And I think that's a big lesson for us Western people. We don't know how to do that very well. We keep investing outward. So my biggest tip would be invest in yourself. Take time out. And play with that time. Find things that you enjoy. Just because you might roll off the tongue if somebody says to you, oh, what do you love to do? And it might be something that you've said forever. Things change. It might not be that thing you love anymore. So get out there and experience things that, all of a sudden you might just enjoy having no shoes on and walking on the grass, something you probably would never have done because your mother never let you. It's like, put your shoes on, you might step on something sharp.
Absolutely.
Just simple things. It doesn't have to be something you need to go and spend hours doing. I'm just talking about stepping out of that norm that and trying different things, whether it's walking, getting some fresh air. As you mentioned earlier, I do teach Tai Chi and Qigong. I'm very much I love the energy you get from practicing a practice such as an energetic practice like Tai Chi and Qigong. So, if you want to learn a couple of those moves, it's nothing like you need to invest hours in learning. They're very, very simple moves, but I'm a big believer in bringing more energy into your world. So, simple techniques you can learn. And getting rid of stagnant energy, that's a really big tip. People don't know what that means and what are you talking about when you say that? Because we get through our day and we get through our night and we wake up the next day and we move on into the next day without really thinking about how much stress and tension did we retain the day before. A lot of us are like mechanically driven. We're just like, I've got this, I've done that, my lists are getting ticked, this is great, I'm succeeding, I'm feeling fantastic. We're really surviving on our adrenals because we're just on that high level for so long. But the body doesn't see it that way. The body needs to get rid of that stagnant energy. So, again, it depends on what you enjoy to do, but I would definitely suggest looking at ways of de-stressing, even if you feel fine, because once again, I was that major stress head, as you would have read in my book. And I thought I was fabulous. I was ripping through everything with lots of energy and I thought I was great, but my stress levels were really high and I wasn't a healthy me and I wasn't moving forward efficiently enough. So definitely getting rid of stress and tension out of the body, taking some time out to do things that you love, taking some time out to listen to yourself and your thoughts and be the observer, so that comes with quietening the mind. So really big fan of taking some time out to use the words meditation, mindfulness, but at the end of the day, it's just taking time to be present and observe what's going on in your mind without the whole concept of how's my business going and what do I need to do and how the list's going. And, yes, that's, wonderful, but the brain's not feeling that
Yes.
level of excitement.
Yes.
I've got a little
No,
note. What else would I suggest? That's enough.
that's stunning. I mean, that is for some people hard work, taking time out, and I appreciate that. But I completely agree that time out is necessary. Like this morning, before I came on here, I was doing self-hypnosis because I got a bit of a headache from I don't know what. I'm certainly drinking enough, but you know, and just that little 20 minutes out for me to do some self-hypnosis is brilliant. It puts me in the great shape for today, and to be able to clear the clutter and clear the headache. The headache disappeared within a few seconds of starting my self hypnosis. So it's doing something like you say that you enjoy, that is not that hard to fit into your day, but it gives yourself some time to step outside of yourself a bit and observe, and kind of feel the stress levels reducing and and relaxing,
Yeah.
and all that, because we need that, like you say, when we're busy in our businesses. It's high adrenaline, it's
Mm.
phone, it's email, it's technology, it's sitting at the computer for many hours a day, and it's not healthy for us. And I think for sure, go and get on the
And
beach, take your shoes off, feel the water beneath your
yeah.
feet.
Yeah. And can I say, I'll just jump in there and mention, if for any of the listeners that are thinking, I don't have time for this, like, it sounds
Mm,
great, ladies, but it's just not
mm,
doable. I too
yeah.
was that person and interpreted everything like that. I thought, oh, that's lovely for
Mm,
those who can do it, but I don't need it. I'm fine. I'm functioning really well. So
sure.
I guess I can speak from being both people, and I could take myself back to
Mm,
being that person. And I remember what it was like very well, very clear. But I love being like this. I was talking to a group of 9 students, girls, yesterday, and anxiety was the topic. And to see the
mm,
faces on these girls, it took me straight back to my
yeah.
debilitating anxiety panic attacks, and I
Yeah.
felt
Yeah.
very overwhelmed. But I also knew that I had so much gratitude because now I don't get to that stage. So there's so much to gain from these little
Mm,
practices that we're
yes.
speaking about today. It's not like taking a Panadol for a headache. It takes time. We do
Mm,
have to commit
mm,
ourselves to it. And I don't
yes.
want people out there that might be listening to be afraid of taking that first step, because I was like that. I'm like, oh, that's going to take months. I don't have months.
Yes.
I'm busy with my business, my family.
Sure.
I'm like, that's investing in something that could take a long time, and I'm a
Yeah.
tomorrow girl. I wanted it done yesterday. So for anyone out there that can relate to that,
Mm,
I would
yeah.
still encourage you just to take a baby step, just the
Yes.
smallest step, and in time that saying, prevention is better than cure. you know
Yes.
and anything that we can prevent is definitely worth your time investing in that, and your thought, and just give yourself 2 minutes a day, even, so it doesn't feel too overwhelming. But I would so encourage everybody to find that one thing, like you say,
Yeah.
whether even if it's just consciously breathing. How often do we sit down
Mm,
and go,
mm,
like, we need a class, we
so
need someone
true.
to instruct us, because we didn't grow up with that. So it's
That's
just
so true.
rare.
Yes. Yes.
So I would even suggest just take 2 minutes to consciously breathe and feel the
Yeah.
breath. That's enough to get you
Yeah.
on the road of investing in yourself.
That's so stunning. So you do, for those that do need a little bit more help, you do workshops in Tai Chi and meditation and mindfulness. Is that for adults as well as kids?
Yeah, most definitely. There's not a certain time where, like, it's not a monthly. I don't run monthly sessions anymore because it's very difficult. As we've just said, people don't have time, and people don't commit.
Mm,
So what I love about what I do most is people, when they're ready to commit
mm,
and they really want change, that's when we get together and we work together and make things happen. So yeah, I mean, one-on-one coaching includes all the things that I do,
yeah.
but we definitely can get together as a group, especially if we've got a group of people that want to do something. Then
Mm,
anything's possible. And
yes.
I brought that back from India, Karen. We're talking about a
Yes.
third world country that's struggling, and
Mm,
everything you ask them, they all turn around and say, you know what? why not? Anything's possible. And I think,
Yes,
oh,
they
just
nod
puts a
about
smile on
everything.
your face. Yeah.
It's not so good when you're lost in, like, you went to Agra and I went to Agra too to see the Taj Mahal just a few years ago. I spent about 3 weeks there in traveling around India. And I remember in Agra, we got lost in the little back streets of Agra. And it was a stunning hot day. It was ridiculously hot. And everyone we asked, where, we're looking for this particular restaurant in the middle of Agra, which was good for vegans, and which we are. And I said, "Is it this way or that way?" And they just nodded. Yes, 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 yeah. Which way? Which way? They never like to say no to people, so it was like they got a bit confused. So you kind of have to say, "Is it this way?" And they say, "Yes." Is it this way? Yes.
Yes.
So did you enjoy your trip
That's not
to
helpful.
India? Did you enjoy your trip?
Yeah, it was very much so. Yeah, completely different, obviously, to our country.
Oh, yes.
The architecture, the age, the culture.
Mm-hmm.
But I think, what I brought back was I've been using that word culture for a little while now with when I speak to the schools. I think we need this culture and language in our schools and in our community.
Yeah.
We have to make the changes and make a difference. And it kind of feels like we lack a lot of that, it is a shame, but it's never too late to implement really positive things and just the whole attitude, of, anything's possible. And a few years ago, we went to Cambodia, took the kids there at Christmas time with no gifts for them. It was simply an eye-opening experience for them to experience a third world country. And what I took away from Cambodia was less is more. And it just, like, even when I say it now, I just think, we've got a few things wrong here, but we can change them.
Yes, like you say, one step at a time. We start with ourselves, and before we know it, we have a cultural change. And so it's definitely has to start with the self. It's been super
Biggest
exciting.
fan of that. Yeah.
It's been super exciting meeting you. Having read your book, and I think I feel I already know you. And now having met you, I definitely know a little bit more about you. So yes, you're inspiring. If anyone has time, I'm sure you do, and you want to know a little bit more about Rachel's world and where she got the inspiration behind the book. So Like an Evil, Beautiful Woman. You can get it in the library, but you can also get it through links I'm sure, on Amazon. Would that be right? It's on Amazon?
Actually, through my website at the moment.
Through your website. So what's your website? Give a call out for your website.
So loveyourlifecoach.com.au.
Loveyourlifecoach.com.au. Super duper. And in terms of, is that the best place for people to find you generally for the workshops and things that you get up to?
Yep, just there's plenty of inquiry buttons on the website, lots of information about what we do and how we do it. I'd love to hear from anybody, even if you just wanted to have a chat. That's just as important as business. So I welcome all that. And thank you, Karen, for having me. It's been an absolute pleasure.
You're welcome. Great meeting you at last. Talk to you soon.
Lovely.
And I'll probably see you around because we live on the coast, just near each other.
I hope so. Yeah, we're not that far.
Thanks, Rachel. Thanks, bye.
Bye-bye.
So that was Rachel Dickey, guys. Rachel is, like I said, a life coach. She's meditation. She's a mindfulness Tai Chi teacher, and she's written this great book, which you've got to go and have a read because it's about her life, and which was pretty devastating in terms of what happened. And from that, she was able to get the courage and be brave and the strength, actually, to kind of move on from that. So it's a very inspirational book to get your hands on. But lots of, like I said, future kind of pacing in terms of seeing a light at the end of the tunnel. And she gives you lots of tools and tips and advice on how you can take yourself out of situations which aren't being great for your self-esteem. So that's been STEMGo. We do these shows 10:15 every Wednesday and Thursday morning. If you're a business owner and you've got something great that you want to share on this show, we'd love to hear from you. It's about being productive, efficient, effective in your business. So yes, if you want some free tips and techniques and advice on how to save time, energy, and money in your business, come along to STEMGo Save Time, Energy, and Money Facebook page, my business page. You can also get your hands on some free content. I'm going to put the link to that content in the show notes below. So until next time, until next Wednesday, I'll look forward to seeing you then. Bye bye now. Have a good week, a good and productive week.